Hello everybody and welcome to Erndale's. My name is Dale and I'm coming to you from Western Manitoba, Canada. I'm going to do a little different video today, and that is because I think this might be of value to a lot of my viewers. I've noticed on my analytics that most of my viewers are 65 and over, and so am I. I'm going to be 70 in October. And I know I've mentioned it a few times in some of my videos that I was having issues with my eyes. Well, my eye doctor sent me to a specialist for cataracts. And in the last, let me see, what is it? Today is May the 2nd. In the last 4, 5, 6 months, my vision has really deteriorated. I had to stop driving because most of my driving is on the highway and I couldn't see. I could see, my vision is fine, but I would be looking at say a car coming towards me, and one minute the car would be there and then the next minute it would be whited out. And bright lights were fuzzing out like this. And there was always a white film over everything I did. I was finding it dark, so even if I was stitching, I was having lights all around me. And I know some of you are going to say, yeah, I know, this is how it is with me. And so on Monday, I finally went to see the specialist, and I actually saw 2 specialists, and I had more done to my eyes in that hour and a half than I have ever had done before. And I've had problems with one of my eyes. I had to have laser because my retina was about to detach. So anyway, I go to this appointment thinking that one was just an eye specialist, the other one was a cataract surgeon. I went to this appointment thinking that I was going to be coming out of there with a date for surgery, and I had really worked myself up a lot because I'm not shy about surgery. I've had cancer twice. I've had a lot of surgery. But for some reason, having eye surgery was just freaking me out. So I go in there and they froze my eye. They dilated my eye. And I saw the specialist first. And I was in there a good 45 minutes with him examining both of my eyes and not saying anything. I hate it when they're going, but they're not telling you anything. So finally he finished all the different examinations, and he said, you don't have a cataract problem. He says, you have such a minute cataract that it's not even barely there. He said, your problem is called BLEPHARITIS. I'm going to spell it and I'll put the name up here for you. BLEPHARITIS. Now, being a nurse, I know that itis means inflammation. So he took a long time explaining. He said that what I have is basically dry eyes. So dry, so extremely dry that the tissue that's on your eye has actually yellowed and it's stuck, like totally stuck to my eyeball. And he said it has exact same symptoms as cataract, but it's not cataract at all. And so he said it's treatable. It's not ever going to go away, but you can treat it. And he said it's a pain in the butt to get treatment for it. And I thought, oh great, here we go. So he says, first he went over diet, and he said, I want you to eat dark greens, which I do anyway, like kale and chard and beet tops, and anything dark green is really good for the eye. I know this. And I've been taking Arids, which are like Ocuvite type of things for my eyes for years. And he said diet is, leafy greens, that kind of thing is really good for your eyes, which I already knew. And he said the treatment now is something that's going to require some time. You have to do it twice a day, and it requires some time. And honestly, I can't. Can you see how shiny my eyes are? They were so dull before this. In fact, Gary said to me, I can't believe how white your eyes are turning. So, no drugs, nothing like that. All I do for 10 minutes is I put this little blue gel pack in my microwave for 18 seconds and I put it on my face for 10 minutes. And then I take it off and then I use tea tree face wash foam. Put a little dab on each finger, close my eyes, and I massage my eyelids with it and then rinse it off and then open my eyes. I do that twice a day. And yesterday I drove the car for the first time. My vision, other than my floaters, which we all have, right? My vision was so good. I even passed a vehicle on the highway, which I have not done in over a year because of my confidence. I was never able to judge how far away an oncoming car was. And I can't believe it, just since Monday. And I've been doing this faithfully since Monday. I can't believe already how much better my vision is. And it is crazy. I never expected anything like this. So I have to say a little story because I told him this and he could not believe it. When I was a child, you know, some kids suck a thumb or two fingers or whatever they do. I played with my eyelashes. That was my thing as a child. From the time I can remember, I always played with my eyelashes. And what I did was I would take my eyelashes and I would bend them and I would put them up like that. And I did that. In fact, I can do that without my fingers. Anyway, I did that pretty much all my life. And if I was, like when I was in nursing school, if it was, I was studying for an exam and I was stressed, I would do both of them. And so I always had my eyelid pushed up and open. And this has a lot to do with the eyelid because there are oil glands in your eyelid. And these oil glands mix with your natural tears and keep your eye lubricated. Well, by doing this, I was keeping my eye open and keeping the lid away from my eye. And I've dried out all these little glands in here. And so partially this heat is now opening these up and allowing them to function again. So when I told him I did that, he says, I've never heard of anybody doing something like that. And I says, well, I don't know that I've ever seen anybody play with their eyelashes like I did. In fact, just talking about it, I can feel there was a little, when I pushed my eyelash up underneath this part of my lid here, there was a little pain that hit my eyelash. And I like that little pain. And I think there's a name for it. I can't remember. But that was my comfort. And so what I've done to my eyes from a child has really affected what I'm going through right now. But my solution, I cannot believe how easy this has been. So I can't believe the difference. Honestly, even now, I don't have my glasses on and I can see downtown fairly clearly. All I need is my glasses to focus it back up. But the white is gone. I was sitting in my chair yesterday and I have a big LED light that I usually, if I'm knitting socks or something, I have this right on my shoulder so that I can see my stuff. I can knit without that light right now. So I am so very happy for something that I had really worked myself up for, to have such a simple cure, not a cure, but a simple treatment that I can do that can allow me to get things back in my life that were missing, like driving. And driving is essential. Where I live, I need to be able to drive. Because my husband Gary has serious eye issues. He has, he's had a lot of eye surgery. So I need to be able to drive. And I think that was the biggest issue with my vision, is not being able to drive. So this is just a little, it's called Eye Mask Therapy TheraPearl from Bausch+Lomb. I'm not sponsored, by the way. I'm not in any way sponsored. I'm just sharing this with you in case you have dry eyes. You should try this, or you might want to try it. 18, it depends. The instructions are on here about how long to put it in according to the size or the voltage of your microwave. For me, I've got a really small little microwave, so it's 18 seconds. And it's not hot, it's just pleasantly warm. Better than warm, but not hot. And you just put that on there for 10 seconds, and it actually feels so good. Even my sinuses actually have started to warm up because it sits right here on your sinus as well. And then this, you just use a tiny little squirt. I mean, this is gonna last me for a long, long time. And I can see, when I look at myself in this camera right now, I can see a major difference in my eyes already. My eyes were always red. They were not itchy, but I was constantly blinking this white film away, and now I don't. There's a little bit there after, when I wake up in the morning, there's a bit of that still there. And the other thing was, I was putting in gel drops 2 or 3 times a day, and I haven't used a gel drop since Monday. So there you go. I just wanted to share this in case some of you are experiencing something like this. There's no drugs involved in this. This is just a tea tree oil for face. Actually, it's really nice on the face as well. I didn't even know this face wash existed, but you just put a little bit on your fingers, close your eyes, and just rub it into your eyelashes. That's all you do, and then wash it off before you open your eyes. And that's the way it was. You know, when I was a child, I actually wore off my eyelashes. That's how much I was rubbing them all the time. So I did all this damage, but who knew that this would cause such great problems at my age? And I know that as we grow older, things do dry up. Your eyes are going to get a lot drier. That's why I was putting all these drops in. But now I don't have to use drops. I just do this twice a day. And wow, for about 3 or 4 minutes after I take this off, you can feel the moisture in your eye. You can actually, I actually have to wait a few minutes before I can actually focus because there's so much moisture in my eyes. Now, Gary wanted to try this, but he has had cataract surgery and has artificial lenses in his eyes. And I would not advise you do this unless you ask your eye doctor first. If you've had any kind of eye surgery, or if you have lenses, you know, from cataracts, don't do this unless you ask somebody first, because he was all gung-ho to do it because his eyes are very dry too. And I said, no, I don't think you should unless you ask your doctor, because what if the moisture gets underneath your lens and then it can't come out? So I'm just talking about somebody who's had no surgery on their eye and has dry eyes. Maybe give it a try, or maybe ask your eye doctor about this before you try it. My eye doctor never ever suggested this, and she used to always say, oh, you have very dry eyes, but she never ever suggested anything like this. So I am going to be going back to see her for a follow-up, just for a vision check, and I'm going to take this stuff in and I'm going to say, you know, what do you think about this? Because actually I'm very excited about it. I think it's really great. So I just wanted to share this with you. This has been a wonderful week for me. Just because my eyes are improving. I mean, that's made a big, big difference. And I know, you know, all the things that I do. In fact, I even said to him, you know, I thought a lot of my problems with my eyes, dryness-wise, was because of the fiber that I'm always working with. I'm working with wool, and I'm working with, you know, material or cloth that gives off a fiber. And he said, actually, no. Unless you get a particle in your eye, that's a different thing. But fiber is in your air anyway. It's in your space naturally, because we wear clothes and we have blankets. And he said that fiber is already there. He said When you get a particle, that's a different thing. But he said, you know that you have a particle. And that's the other thing. I always thought that I did have things in my eye. It felt like I always had something in my eye because it was so dry that it felt like, you know, I got a piece of sand in there or something like that. So I hope you can try this if you're having some dry issues. It's not anything that's going to hurt you, that's for sure. And wow, what a difference it made for me. I just wanted to share that, put that out there. But do consult with your own medical advisors before you try it if you have had surgery. On this little box here, this can also be cold. And I used to suffer from migraines. In fact, I did have a migraine when I got home from the eye doctor because of the dilation, and we drove, I didn't drive, but an hour and a half home on a sunny day. I had sunglasses, but I had such a headache. And this can also go in the freezer, and you can use it as a cold pack if you have a headache. It's good for sinus. It's good for a sty in your eye. There's all kinds of things you can use this. So it can be hot or cold. It's a great little thing. I mean, I've got some of these. I got one for my neck that if I overdo it in the garden, I put it and I freeze it and I put it around my neck. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty non-invasive, no surgery, just soothing heat on the eye. So that's my little update on my eyes. Now I'm going to put on some better clothes, and I'm going to go to a garden center for the first time this year. Going to a new garden center that's in our community. She opened actually last year, but I never got a chance to get there. So I'm going to go check her out. I'm looking for some perennials and for some shrubs for my front bed, which I did dig up yesterday. It was horrendous, but that'll be on another video. I want you to have a good day today, and I will talk to you in a few days. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.